Where's Eka? We must have asked 1,000 times. Our mother stayed so we could escape. See, war trumps most things. You'll find that a volley of AK-47 rounds fired right down your street will override almost any other concern. We heard gunfire by night and saw brass twinkling on the pavement in the morning, as though it had rained shell casings all over Tbilisi. Sounds manageable so far. But when a stray tank shell breaks the sound barrier by your bedroom window, screams on and deletes the corner shop and the entire family living above it, you'll begin to make plans. Our parents, Irakli and Eka, made plans to get us all out, divorce be damned. Getting out of the country meant shady bribes, stolen travel stamps and counterfeit certificates. What money the family scratched together was barely enough for one parent and us children. Eka didn't even have a passport. Together, we couldn't leave the country. Meanwhile, the civil war was warming up. Bullet holes in familiar places and people no longer a surprise. We had to go. Eka stayed and we escaped with Irakli. That's how we became motherless, Sandro and I. I was 8 and Sandro was 2 years older. At that age, the difference was a whole ocean of experience. Even so, Sandro had no inkling of what motherless meant, and neither did I. There was no fanfare upon our arrival on the capitalist shores of the UK. They put us straight in a refugee shelter in Croydon, in that cold warehouse of bunk beds, communal toilets and food tokens. Nervous faces haunted the hallways. Eventually, somewhere deep in the guts of the Home Office machine, gears clicked, a screen flickered to life, and we were granted refugee status with Tottenham N17 printed on our case file. In those early days, we floundered in a city we didn't know. Tottenham in 1992 wasn't the London we'd imagined. There were no top hats, no smog, no Holmes, no Watson, no ladies, no gents, and no afternoon tea. Not for us. We lived in a different London. In our London, people swore and spat, drank, quarrelled, and laughed in fretful bursts. They spoke strange words in accents we couldn't pass. They walked, bowed by the weight of mouths to feed, bills to pay, and how many days till payday. Our Da walked among them. Our Irakli, a man out at sea without a compass, searching for a woman he'd managed to lose twice. First, he lost Eka to a divorce shrouded in mystery. Then to a civil war that reunited and parted them in one breath. "Where's Eka?" "Soon, boys. We'll get her back," Irakli would say. A promise, not yet a lie. He broke his back trying to buy Eka a way out. He picked fruit, painted walls, stacked shelves in warehouses, sweated and toiled in nameless, windowless factories across North London. Those jobs wore him down in subtle, vital ways. We watched him erode. Once he fell asleep at the table, spoon halfway to his mouth. We laughed and laughed. Sometimes you have to laugh at a thing to strip it of its power. It's hard to save thousands by pounds and pennies. It's harder to send what you've scratched together to a country on fire. Georgia was eating itself alive. No banks to speak of, no working postal system. Those of us who'd escaped were not exactly keen to go back to a war zone. Somehow, Irakli found someone willing to fly back there for a fee. He was a tall, skinny man with earnest eyes. He looked honest and said the right things, held his cigarette just so. He ate our food and drank our drink. He took the pounds and pennies meant for Eka and left, smiling and shaking hands. For a while we stopped asking where Eka was. I don't remember the honest man's name, but in my dreams he's died 1,000 deaths by my hand. Eka never got the money, and we never saw the honest man again. Irakli drank, and one night from the bedroom we heard him break the coffee table. The next morning we found the table glued back together, and Irakli gone back to work. His efforts to buy us a mother turned frantic. Tense telephone conversations, sometimes Georgian and sometimes broken English, muffled by a closed door and often cut short by the angry boom of Irakli's voice. We found strange clues around the house. Phone cords ripped from sockets, strange dents in the plasterwork, red bank letters ripped up and stuffed under the sofa, and the faint shrapnel left behind by crockery smashed and hurriedly cleaned up. "Clumsy, da," was all he'd say. "Clumsy, clumsy me." We didn't understand it then, but we do now. Irakli was trying everything to buy Eka's freedom, and he was failing.